Gotta stay on this mission. Got a vision that's endless. They told me don't be a menace. They gon' serve me a sentence. But now I'm up in the illest that did it.
The London Black Knights are now on the clock.
Give about opinions. I'm just
The Lions are now on the clock.
I'm shining. Don't got time for the gimmicks. I'm it. Squad. 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 Square one, it's hard to square up. Everybody got come, mama cries, dead sons. Lord, please bless them. Back to the party, I'm just pouring my. Don't get face that before, so I live it up. When a come, better get them up.
The Mexico City Diablos are now on the clock.
I'll let you finish, y'all. Block of diamonds, I can promise I'm being honest. This being modest. I am your highness. I am the finest. You rappers, plus you a liar. Don't idolize and I don't admire. Been doing me for like ever. I'm a better me, more clever. It's a new way. We surfing, baby, new age. That's a certain, baby. Let's take a ride.
Let's go to Adam Schefter now, who has more to say about Lemonnier.
Once thought of as a top 3 offensive line pick in the draft, a series of poor performances that saw him miss several routine blocks and surrender multiple sacks had most scouts losing interest. Ross Tucker felt that he simply fell into some bad habits with his footwork, citing a lack of focus that sometimes happens when a young kid with talent begins reading his own press clippings and becomes enamored with where he'll land in the NFL. Tucker may have been onto something regarding him reading the press clippings. After seeing reports of his draft stock slipping, he put on a performance at the Combine that turned many ahead. Not often are you granted a second chance, and that's exactly what he's received by being drafted. His new team is hoping he'll make the best of it.
Jets are now on the clock.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
Crashing so the sparks can come together. Don't need a reason why the universe was made. It goes on and on and on and on forever. And it's a long flight on this battle star where we fight for love no matter where we are. And there's a big bang in this universe, and it makes me feel like the gold on work. You got me like, ooh. You got me like,
The Cowboys are now on the clock. So, Adam, what can you tell us about Walker?
Well, he had a brief scare in the offseason, and I'm sure it scared a few teams out there as well. The combine ended abruptly for him after an undisclosed heart condition was discovered during a routine medical exam. Officials held him out of workouts and asked that he consult a specialist. Unable to perform any drills, he did stay at Indy and interview with each team. Following the combine, he visited a specialist and had surgery to correct the issue. I spoke with his agent, who was confident that it was an abnormal circumstance, and he assured me it wouldn't affect his play. Clearly, the GM was not concerned with this incident either.
As we go on, like we do. When it's hot outside, I wanna just chill with you. What you need, a little mind at ease. There's a little sunshine in the summer breeze. Yes, right. Baby, if you feel the same, let me know. Let me know. Yes, I do. What you got to lose?
You done made it to see a whole nother summer and it feel good. Stop now, top down through the neighborhood. Let the wind blow, open up the window. That girl is poison like Velvet DeVoe. We have a barbecue to do at 4. Swimming pool party in the back on the low. And the plates of food will be laid out for free. Little kids, get down. I have a bus pull up with Tommy the Clown to do the jerk. Go to work and do that dance that'll make your whole body hurt. Playing Bombardier, calm and clear. This that time of the year for everybody to be boisterous. Rock with Snoop Dogg and rejoice to this.
As we go on, like we do.
The Chargers are now on the clock.
I wanna just chill with you.
The Bears are now on the clock.
What you need, a little mind at ease. There's a little sunshine in the summer breeze. Yes, right. Baby, if you feel the same, let me know. Let me know. Yes, I do. What you got to lose?
Shined up my white walls, night falls. I'm feeling good. I'm doing things that you never would, like surfing with the sharks or shooting in the dark. Riding on a bike with my grandson at the park. Evolve while I elevate. Take flight, levitate. Breakfast for dinner.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Finna, bender, Kona, on a 3-wheel.
Shefty now with the inside scoop on Walsh.
Nobody really knew about him until he was asked to fill in at the All-Star game for an injured player. He came to the first practice, and from that moment on, he was the center of attention. He played lights out and looked to handle himself really well, matched up against top-tier talent. He stole the show and left the All-Star game shooting up draft boards around the league. The coach is going to love having a guy like him on the team, and I can't wait to see what he does when the season rolls around.
In the summer breeze. Yes, right. Baby, if you feel the same, let me know. Let me know. Yes, I do. What you got to lose?
Rather you than me. If you've been with me from Port of Miami, it's been a journey. Ain't nothing changed. A little stronger, a little wiser. Maybe a little more.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Blame it on America. I'm pulling off the lot, I bought the cash. Whoa. Her future bright, don't give nobody bad. Whoa. Be looking good inside the whoa. But I noticed that she missing all the edges. Whoa. I run the game just by running with the whoa. Poor attitude, they got rich calisthenics. Whoa.
Walking in the courtroom, sipping on the beverage. I know the judge, so I got a lot of leverage.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
On the 7, your dog did a dab, you never wrote a letter. Whoa. Still in the box, got a rapping acapella. Whoa. Kim Treasure, people with the weapon. Whoa. I got it, boy, don't make me be the devil. Whoa. He knocking on the door and know the password. Gave me his blessings while I'm hotter than the last verse.
Dead presidents, dead presidents. Dead presidents, dead presidents.
Let's go, all my little militant. Let's go, I'm innocent.
Dead presidents, dead presidents. Dead presidents, dead presidents.
Feds. Let's go, I'm innocent.
I got that in like Tommy Lee. I make money. On my third passport, in them, I got at the airport. I got bowling green dollars on my dollars. Busting down 100 in the bathtub. Get some house shoes. I got money. I got wall wounds. Get the coaching on that. Ain't no dance moves. I was posted on the stoop.
The Broncos are now on the clock. The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Ain't no relations. I was stacking being friends.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
2 times in a row, that's a repeat. You end up, cause they easy. I'm in the freezy. She love me like she need me. I got my Maybach flooded out with extra TVs. I make up every single day. I judge a vulture when I flip the padded face. Dead presidents, dead presidents. Dead presidents, dead presidents.
Let's go, all my little militant. Let's go, I'm innocent.
Dead presidents, dead presidents. Dead presidents, dead presidents.
Feds. Let's go, I'm innocent.
Hands on me, got the yellow brace. Check off in my pocket like the yellow paste. Was what I was asking. Low facility, I keep it classy. Build an empire, yeah, that was my state of mind. Yeah, that was my state of mind. Keep the blocks over there, we call it Lego land. Meanwhile, it's like it's Amsterdam. Boy fresh, you know who got the tropes. 16 when I bought my first rollie. Legend in my hood, just like a
The Raiders are now on the clock.
Dead presidents, dead presidents. Dead presidents, dead presidents.
The Texans are now on the clock.
I'm innocent.
Dead presidents, dead presidents. Dead presidents, dead presidents.
Feds. Let's go, I'm innocent.
I've been rolling on the freeway, I've been riding 85. I've been thinking way too much, and I'm way too gonna drive. I got anger in my chest, I got millions on my mind, and you didn't fit the picture, so I guess you want the vibe.
LOV on my right leg, that's Gucci. Dig what I'm saying. LOV on my man, that's Poochie. Dig what I'm saying. Caught a little jet lag, but I'm golden. Yeah. We deserve Grammys and some Oscars. They deserve Whammies, they imposters. I be rolling with my project homies. It's a vibe. I just put the homie, it's a vibe. Over switch sides, it's a vibe. Yeah. I gon' do it. I gotta accept that I'm a. I pull up in several different options. That I will most ever. I shatter your dreams with this cream I make. Gotta be on the thinker. I say. I can't feel my toes, but I ain't gon' fold up. I was in the double law when I rolled up.
I've been rolling on the freeway, I've been riding 85. I've been thinking thinking way too much, and I'm way too gonna drive. I got anger in my chest, I got millions on my mind, and you didn't fit the picture.
The Browns are now on the clock.
I've been rolling on the freeway.
The Eagles are now on the clock. The Patriots are now on the clock.
And I'm way too gonna drive. I got anger in my chest, I got millions on my mind, and you didn't fit the picture, so I guess you want the vibe.
Dig what I'm saying, Chanel drapes on me daily. Dig what I'm saying, sponsored by Mercedes. Dig what I'm saying, this Creek Cologne is on me, maybe. Dig what I'm saying, I'm going hard. Yeah. I pop in your memory, You should be glad I'm showing you sympathy. I gave you real love out the gutter, Ever let you go, you gon' suffer from it. I gon' do it. I gotta accept that I pull up in several different options. That I but most of them. I shatter your dreams with this cream I make. Gotta be on the think of I say. What? I can't feel my toes, but they gon' fold up. I was in the double law when I rolled. Yeah.
I feel like I should be giving up.
The Panthers are now on the clock.
It's too much, but I'm tired of you, me on.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
It's gone.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
For your apologies, gave my all, but you wanted more from me. Keep your love, it doesn't feel the same. I hope it hurts you when you hear my name. I go out for my squad and I put that on. Squad. All I got is my word and my word is my bond. Squad. Yeah, they gon' look at you different when you moving forward.
The London Black Knights are now on the clock.
You get yours, I get mine.
The Chiefs are now on the clock.
Extra high for my entourage, check my repertoire. Jim Jones, everywhere I go, you know it's reppin' time. When Latifah ready, when we set it off. If they sleeping on me, I'ma wake them up, they fakers. I really do, I'm kicking up the rent is due. Plus I got my mama and my kiddies too, they growing up. Time is moving faster, what we wasting for no.
The Saints are now on the clock.
Prove I owe you that we all we got. I go out for my squad and I put that.
The Patriots are now on the clock.
All I got is my word and my word is my bond. Yeah, they gon' look at you different when you moving forward. Shoulders, but just stick to the code. You get yours, I get mine. I've been reflecting on how we got this far, even when the pressure's on, finessing strong. Plus I got my team around me heavy, ain't no extra pros. You can keep them. Giuseppe's on delusional. Who gon' be there for you if you lose it all? Question that, who gon' have your mama back? Think about it, it's so much more to life, take advantage. We gon' get this money, stack this paper, and be alright. We gon' run it, keep on finish on sight. I go out for my squad and I put that on squad.
The Patriots are now on the clock.
All I got is my word and my word is my bond. Squad. Yeah, they gon' look at you different when you moving forward. But just stick to the code, you get yours, I get mine. Squad. Yeah. Yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, every day I'm shot callin'. I'm a spray. Make it rain just to let you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah.
The Lions are now on the clock.
Yeah. Just to let you know I'm ballin'. I'm a spray. Make it rain just to let you know.
The Mexico City Diablos are now on the clock.
I've been ballin' since like yesterday. Yeah, all this money all up in the way. All this money in the way. You know that I'm walking with the bank. Water, diamond on my ring. You know that I'm rockin' Philip Blue. You know that, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, every day I'm shot callin'. I'm a spray. Make it rain just to let you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, I've been ballin'. Yeah, just to let you know I'm ballin'. I'm a spray. Make it rain just to let you know. Yeah, you cannot see me, the windows is tinted. Yeah, driving around right in that Bentley. Hey, you driving around right in that Bentley. Hey, but your shit, it should be rented. Yeah, but that is none of my business. Money won't stop me, go straight to the top. Believe it or not, you like getting the same. Yeah, she know I'm a rock star. Looking at my chain, on my diamonds rock hard. Turned the way up, I ain't getting tired. And if you wanna race, then we gonna ride. Yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, every day I'm shot callin'. I'm a spray. Make it rain just to let you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, I've been ballin'. Yeah, just to let you know I'm ballin'. I'm a spray. Make it rain just to let you know.
You're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Then boy dare try to stop the truth. How dare you to stop the truth? Look, you're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Then boy dare try to stop the truth. How dare you to stop the truth? Wanna come round there like a bad boy, do it. Want all the talking, go on and do it. Running through the party, bottle of rolls on my ear saying storms, don't do it. Double on my shoulder, I don't lack. Getting with the business, I don't scrap. Even when I'm bar, I'm so easy right, but there's no car and no mash. What you talking about? Clown, stand down, never had a thing, never had a pound. You were never bad then, you ain't bad now. Never had them, then look back down. Wait, I saw bare kicks, saw bare clothes. Said not that, I can't wear those. I don't like them, they're not my thing. They went silent, they're all weirdos. Like yeah, Storm's gone clear. Never had a Tom Ford or a Montclair. Man, them I can't, but you see my Don there. Tell them don't do it, don't dare. Don't care who you know from my block. You're not Al Capone, they can take my car and my creps. I'll still do the road in my socks. Like who's gonna stop me? You, him, little man. I got blue slims. Don't be an idiot, move smart. I've been killing it, new king. You were never ready for my new stuff. You're a boy by yourself, go and group up. And when Crep went states for the BTs, I was covering Crep like a boot cut. If mad, it's a family ting, straight family ting. Dumb man, I bro, no salary ting. Had a young ting called Amy telling me to come round hers on a Valerie ting. Hashtag Murky Academy ting. You were like art and the gallery ting. Dumb boy there wanna chat about bars, wanna chat about.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Then boy dare try to stop the truth. How dare you to stop the truth? Look, I'm too hot.
I got money in my shoe.
The Jets are now on the clock.
My show sold out like the brother from the Boondocks. Beat Swan in my boombox. Still
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
sick on my tune drops. Little man, that's a hoopla.
The Rams are now on the clock.
Right. I got magic, I'm down to die for this. I don't care, bro, I'm down. Man stress, so I'm bound to lie my slips. Wait, I'm bound to ride for flips. Real G's gonna
The Bengals are now on the clock.
time to write at this. I never left my 9 to 5 for this waste man thing. I don't care what rave man's in. I came here to relax, but if it gets mad, make a young boy take man's things. Try to tell me I'm way too big to rebel. Nah, man, you're never too big to rebel. I was in the O2 singing my lungs out, rude boy. You're never too big for Adele. Leave my yard, blow a kiss to my girl. Salute to my sister.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
My mum's bit, man, I'm getting way too big for my shelf. Man, I see bare MCs on the sideline, but I still got a couple bangs in the pipeline. Man, I got grown men at me. You're getting way too old for the timeline. You're getting way too old for this.
The Chargers are now on the clock.
Go home to your son. It's never too late to commit. It's like man, love, put my name in a random flat, get a plane to Qatar. This year I learned how to take care of business.
The Saints are now on the clock.
Getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy there try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth? Look, you're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy there try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth?
The Broncos are now on the clock. The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
Like the way it sounds, Frody? Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe. Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe. It's too hot, drop the top off the wagon. Lay back, fire like dragon.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Out of here like I ain't that savage. Two. It's like I'm at the studio with Michael. You can hear me dancing on the beat. Bam, bam, about to put a mansion on the beach. 100 Latins in your lobby. That's what happens when you're around with body. And I put that my mommy.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
I can just make a dance that goes with this song. Then I'ma be on. Basic, gon' dance to it. Basic, everywhere, gon' dance to it.
The Titans are now on the clock.
Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute. White Range Rover, in it. Let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe for a minute. White Range Rover, all in it. You gotta, baby, shake that, shake that, shake that. You gotta, baby, shake that, shake that. Shake that. I got 2 shows, I'm about to pitch another.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Brothers, we all shine, nobody victims. I'm on these sweatsuits, black Pippins. I swag different.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
Come up short, you left your fam. I lay on beaches and swerving whips. You ain't serving, you just an urban myth. Every day, get ride around Queens on the jet ski. It's me. Every day, get to the day I die. Every day, get man, I that and I that bouncing up and down. Nearly broke. Just let me breathe.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
Let me breathe for a minute.
The Panthers are now on the clock.
White Range Rover, in it. Let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe for a minute. White Range Rover, in it.
The Panthers pick is in. Adam, did Cam Newton get some help?
Spent the entire offseason working on his footwork and mechanics, and when scouts finally had a chance to see him up close at his pro day, they came away hopeful but not thrilled. As Matt Miller put it, he looked okay during drills, but the most important thing he showed was improvement in just a few months. He's not exactly ready to lead an offense, but I'm guessing the team is committed in developing him further.
Ambition flow inside my DNA. I was born like this, it's born like this. Immaculate conception, not transform like this, perform like this with new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate. Then off your head. This that put the kids to bed. This that I got realness. I just killed this 'cause it's in my DNA. I got millions, I got riches building in my DNA. I got dark, I got evil that rot inside my DNA. I got off, I got trouble, some heart inside my DNA. I just win again, then win again like Wimbledon I serve. Yeah, that's him again. The sound the engine in is like a bird. You see fireworks and Corvette tires skirt the boulevard. I know how you work, I know just who you are. See, use it. Your hormones probably switch inside your DNA. Problem is, all that inside your DNA. Daddy probably snitch, heritage inside your DNA. Backbone don't exist, born on side a jellyfish I gauge. See my pedigree, most definitely don't tolerate the front. Like been through probably offend you, this is Parler's oldest son. I know conviction, burners, boosters, ballers dead.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
I wish I was fed forgiveness, yeah.
The Panthers are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock.
On sale motel, we didn't have nowhere to stay. At 29, I've done so well, hit cartwheel in my estate. And I'm gon' shine like I'm supposed to, antisocial extrovert. And excellent meaning extra work. And absentness, you hurt. And passiveness never struck my nerve. And that's a riff gonna be this case. The reason my power's here on earth. Salute the truth from the prophecy. I got loyalty, got royalty inside
This is
my
why
DNA.
I say that hip-hop has done more damage to young African Americans.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
I live about my DNA. This is my heritage, all I'm inheriting. Money and power, the Mecca emeritus. Tell me something, you can't tell me nothing. I'd rather do than to listen to you.
The London Black Knights are now on the clock. The Chiefs are now on the clock.
Someone stacking up the footage, living on the go and sleeping in the villa, sipping from a Grammy, walking in the building, diamond in the ceiling, marble on the floors, beaches out the window, peeking out the window, baby in the pool, Godfather goes, only Lord knows, I've been going hammer, dodging paparazzi, through the cameras, eat it for daughters, Brock wearing sandals, yoga on the Monday, stretching to the November, watching all the snakes, curving all the fakes, phone never own, I don't conversate, I don't compromise, I just penetrate, money, these are the breaks, these are the times, level number 9, look up in the sky, tennis on the way, sinners on the way. I got winners on the way. You ain't without a on your belt. You ain't without a ticket on your plate. You ain't sick enough to pull it on yourself. You ain't rich enough to hit the ladder skate. Tell me when destruction gonna be my fate. Gonna be a fate. Gonna be a fate. Peace to the world. Let it.
The Saints are now on the clock. The Jaguars are now on the clock.
Young Gerald. Yeah. Die line with the boom pow. Every week now I switch to a new style. 212s in the back just blew out. Everything I do end up in the news now. Yeah, lead a club with a few now. Just some Hollywood and they do. I'm in the mood now. 2 a.m. What you wanna do now? What you wanna do now? Little baby, pass. Don't spill on me. That's Margella. Got this Oakland game to tell her. She look familiar. At Coachella, what's her name? Isabella, forget it, yeah. It's like a week ago, but we both know how weekends go. Tryna function, got some places we could go.
The Packers are now on the clock.
I'm blessed, I don't GA. You tryna, yes on yes. Say less. Say less.
The Lions are now on the clock.
Yeah. Say less. Hey girl, what it do? If you got friends, cool, bring a few through. No fun if the homies, man, R.I.P. Nate Dogg, this too true. And you know what I'm down for. Round 2, round 3, and a round 4. Mood switch when she knocked at the front door. Next up was the uproar. Yeah, was like a week ago, but we both know how weekends go. Tryna tuck off, got some places we could go. Swear she got the like wow, she's blessed, I'm blessed. I don't GA. You tryna yes on yes. Say less. Say less. You ain't got, you ain't no Say less.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
I'm out my mind, I popped. Sheesh. I swear this lock shot got me stuttering. Girl, you I fall in love again. Sheesh. Get it, my favorite rush. You talkative, ain't gotta say.
The Vikings pick is in. Let's go to Adam with more on Gardner.
As aggressive as a defensive lineman as you will find, here's a guy who plays with reckless abandon in his quest to bring down an opposing quarterback. Many I talk to point to this mentality as the reason why he ended up with a ruptured pectoral muscle and cracked sternum, ending his college career. A tender Achilles allograft reconstruction was needed to repair the pectoral and graft it back into place. Procedure typically takes 12 to 18 months to return from, yet he was able to achieve medical clearance in just 7. What remains to be seen, however, is if his all-out style of play will have changed at all, knowing that an aggravation of the injury likely means an end to his career. Fans of the team should not be surprised if we see a much more passive version of him come this fall. The special shoulder pads he'll need to wear to protect the area could slow him down by themselves.
Say less. You ain't got, say less.
Picture me putting my city all over the map. They wasn't believers, I had to get even and mad. We coming up, pulling up, jumping all over your grass. So tell them I got a new girl. Tell them that I'm the bag and I
The Texans are now on the clock.
I need 20 models and smiling in my grave, fresh to death. I've been Wu-Tang with a spectral deck. Yeah, I got that I gotta just get off my chest. I cannot miss it, got lots on my list and you next. Take it how you want it. I ain't famous like I want it, but I think I might just skirt off. Blow the speakers and turn up. Pop up. Go to church with my shirt off. Tell the Lord that I'm here now. I've been waiting for so long. I've been patient for so long. Breaking rules like there's no laws, and I did it for a long time. If you don't like me, take a ticket. There's a long line. Nice to meet me. I think the pleasure's all mine. They've been clocking me so long, I think they lost time. Ooh, you lost. What you mean? Woo! What you mean? Woo! And now I'm just a so what you mean? Woo! Hold up, whoa, what you mean? Woo! Hold up. Don't know what you think it compare me to.
The Chargers are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock.
I do what I do, I don't care if you like it or love it. Tell all of my I got a new girl.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
I'm tired of living on the edge. I want it, they gon' call the feds. I just want it.
The Steelers are now on the clock. The Broncos are now on the clock.
Me and the devil got too much in common, I swear. Yeah. Born in the ghetto, I never had nothing to fear. Take it how you want it. I ain't famous like I want it, so I might just throw a hissy fit. Call up Cassie after she broke up with Diddy, yeah. I told Shorty if she talking, and she gon' call her friends up and we did, whoa. I ain't in the talking, go chop off your lips.
The Bills are now on the clock.
My black boys, I boys that knock off your lid. I thought you gon' pop off, so hop off my.
Bills just made their pick. Adam, what can you tell us about him?
He was always a player who cared about academics, and that couldn't have been made any more clear when he decided to forego his senior season in order to take on more classes. His goal was to graduate before entering the NFL draft, and at the sacrifice of his final year of football eligibility, he was able to pull it off. The decision left some experts scratching their heads, but guys like Matt Miller saw it as a smart move to stay injury-free and remove the distraction of getting his diploma once he went pro. At least with the degree, he has a backup job now in case this whole football thing doesn't work out for him.
Laws and Ayatollahs, rap gods like Cyclops and Olga. King Kong, ain't nobody told you. You think Rome still. And by the Brown, by
the Cardinals are now on the clock.
I'm rich. I'm Muhammad Ali. I talk. I'm James Brown, about to tear down this.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
What you mean?
The Seahawks are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock.
Pulling up with the crew.
Oh my goodness.
Must have done same with the roof.
Oh my goodness.
You sitting looking stupid on the stoop.
Oh my goodness.
I would take notes if I were you.
Oh my goodness.
This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north.
Oh my goodness.
Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw.
Oh my goodness.
The law, it's a shame, rhyme. Crime. It's a shame they let us jump out of Bentleys with dirty vans. Hit the stage for 15 minutes, get 30 bands. Swiss bank counting clean money with dirty hands. With some hood that's ready to with the. Since I came in, it made my name a name brand. French. Paris clubbing like a caveman. We threw up the pyramids, now they say we Illuminati. I'm a tsunami, what the is a little yachty. No blood diamonds, I rock gold like a king. Jury so cold, made them blow the nose off the Sphinx. You think I'ma be some type of role model? I go full throttle, desperado, that's the motto. Vic in Chicago is Hugh Hef at the grotto. Brazilian model, she mean mugging like Frida Kahlo. Drinking it with an Alicia Machado. I'm the ticket, you just hit the lotto. Pulling up with the crew.
Oh my goodness.
Must have done same with the roof.
Oh my goodness.
You sitting looking stupid on the stoop.
Oh my goodness.
I would take notes.
Well, if you're wondering what the delay is, I think we've got a trade coming here.
The stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north.
Oh my goodness.
Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw.
Oh my goodness.
The law, it's a shame, rhyme. Young Vic the diamonds, finest. I shine like Puff Shine shines if I sign to the rock, cause I'm timeless. Top off the Mozzie, my behavior is mindless. On kids, we major, you minors. Fresh out the cell to the booth, drop the roof. I'm still in the hood, tell, shoot. Hope with a club. The judge, you rappers is false flagging, you a fashion. What's cuz, what you know about? What's Velo? Why Barry Lee, your head ringing?
The Browns are now on the clock.
Swinging, this that music.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
Without paying, y'all playing, we playing. My Himalayan, the lotto, that's a sacrificial lamb. I'm season cam, no matter, blam. Pulling up with the crew.
Oh my goodness.
Must have done same with the roof.
Oh my goodness.
You sitting looking.
The Patriots are now on the clock.
I would take notes if I were you.
Oh my goodness.
This was
The Panthers are now on the clock.
in the cross, so we know true north.
Oh my goodness.
Smiling with 50 carats in my.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
It's a shame.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
Every other night I'm outside with the. You ain't got chips. The world, you got chips. You could the next man's girl. Sounds harsh, but they been ripped apart my world. The way Kiss told it should never be misquoted. The that you wave on the camera, we been toting. Selling love potion my whole rap career. So your streams and downloads could never match the kids. We could go foreign until it's boring.
The London Black Knights are now on the clock. The Chiefs are now on the clock.
Till the world is mine like Illmatic and Lauren. Written on to a table full of fresh skin in the type of rappers we know. Got the right numbers on it. Burn the Carter down like I'm Nino.
Pulling up with the crew.
Oh my goodness.
Must have done same with the roof.
Oh my goodness.
You sitting looking stupid on the stoop.
Oh my goodness.
I would take notes if I were you.
Oh my goodness.
This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north.
Oh my goodness.
Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw.
Oh my goodness.
The law, it's a shame, rhyme, crime.
The Chiefs have just made Caldwell their newest player.
In what could be seen as a controversial pick, here's a player who has been followed by quite the reputation as a wild child during his years in college. Numerous social media outlets followed and shared his off-field collegiate exploits, submarining his draft stock. Even with his party boy perception, many of my sources told me that this was simply a case of boys will be boys and not the foreshadowing of a larger issue. Look for this coaching staff to keep him extremely busy, hoping to avoid any unwanted publicity. This task may be easier said than done, especially given all the potential off-field distractions that come with being in the NFL. He has the potential to be his own worst enemy, and should he be unable to focus on the opportunity ahead of him, this pick could end up being one of the biggest busts of the draft.
I was going on Miami. They all cornballs. They can't stand me. I finesse. I done. I hit. Get a plan. Let's go that my whoa. Lolo. Got strain on yo-yo. She post up a MCM and we like that JoJo. When we out and we see him, he always ask for photo. I say, Lord, be my savior when it come to getting this paper. Please protect me from my haters. Just say me and I won't save her. Say amen.
The Jets are now on the clock. The Dolphins are now on the clock. The Bengals are now on the clock. The Texans are now on the clock.
She lucky. She 5 mil cash in Kentucky. Don't need. I walk up in Lehman, spend 10K just like it's nothing. I hang with the demons, they don't play by me, we cut. Woo. I was coolin', Atlanta, mixed with the Fanta. All them, I got Santa, I go monkey, all that. Gonna do just what I say. Pull up, fast as Uber in that right. She's so bad, but she said, I feel guilty, I might as well just plead my case. I say, Lord, be my savior when it come to getting this paper. Please protect me from my haters. Just say me and I won't save her. Say amen. Yeah.
The Chargers are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock.
Going up. When it we gonna. Going up. Did it like my persona. Going up. Ripping up was honest. We used to drive them hardest. Now we pull up in the farthest. Glow up. Walking. Show up. Baby, hold up. Glow up. Boy, don't touch. We glow up. King is born. I told you before. A king is born. Now I told you before. King is born. Oh yeah. Oh no. Like a beast in the jungle, in the heat of the rumble, I ain't got nothing to lose. Hey, I've been fighting these hard times in the ghettos of my mind. Now it's victory that I choose. Hey, yes, my soul is blessed, the king is born. Mama, I confess I'm a bad man. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. 'Cause I've been down so long that my crown and throne is destined. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. Like a bull in a glass house. No bull about to smash out. Can't nothing stand in my way.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Care what the place is. From the penthouse to pavement.
The Steelers are now on the clock. The Broncos are now on the clock. The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
I'm a bad man. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. 'Cause I've been down so long that my crown and throne is destined.
The Bills are now on the clock. The Lions are now on the clock.
A king is born. Been broke before, but I never been broken. I told you before. I am the truth now. The truth has spoken. A king is born. Oh yeah. A king is born. Yeah.
The Titans are now on the clock. The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. 'Cause I've been down so long that my crown is gone is destined. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. King is born.
I come here today to talk about how I feel. And I feel like that we are treated differently than other people, and I don't like how we're treated, and just because of us doesn't mean anything to me.
It's just the way I feel.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
It's just no way to deal with these problems alone. And I really can't take it no more. I've been fighting temptations, my Lord. I'm young and I'm restless. And I really can't help it. I never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know. Tell me, Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me? Now everybody got problems, yeah, but we didn't know one way to solve them. I really came up from the bottom, struggling my mama on the last.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
In these hours, the government been trying to take away with ours. Really all about the money and the power. I just want to see my people in power. Tell me how we gonna shake.
The Bears are now on the clock.
But in the same condition, if you want to make change, it's gonna take commitment. Some people enslaved by their religion can't emancipate the fundamental principles. When I see through optics, transform the wisdom. Watch me use my prophets, get them on the listen. I've been on a mission, and I really can't take it no more. I've been fighting temptations, my Lord. I'm young and I'm restless, and I really can't help it. I never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know. Tell me, Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me? Now everybody got fights, yeah, but wouldn't know what good advice was. Till they leave him lifeless. Another mama crying, it's another crisis. Lord knows we just trying to live righteous. Are you willing to make the sacrifices? I know we can't continue living like this, and I never.
The Browns are now on the clock. The Eagles are now on the clock.
Make a living, hustle on the block, who gon' save the children? Minutes on the plot and I'm just revealing. The media just trying to make a villain. I just take the pain and paint a picture. Voices in my head, I hear the whispers when I feel this way. And I really can't take it no more. I've been fighting temptations, my Lord. I'm young and I'm restless, and I really can't help it. I never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know. Tell me, Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me?
The Patriots are now on the clock.
It's just the way I feel. Mom's been wasting so long. It's just the way to deal with these problems alone. And I really can't take it no.
The Panthers are now on the clock.
My Lord, I'm living on restless. I said, Lord, can you help me? I never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me?
The Bengals are now on the clock.
Adam, what can you tell us about the Bengals' newest player?
Prospects can't take any risks before the draft, as many consider it to be one of the most important off seasons of their careers. Unfortunately, he's an example of what not to do when he suffered an injury playing a casual game of pickup basketball. Here's the catch. It was the week before the Combine. Needless to say, he couldn't participate and lost out on a big opportunity to impress scouts. Fortunately, he still landed on a team, but it's still a lesson to all the young players out there to be smart before the draft.
Let go, set me free. Got the streets, all I need. We're going hey, hey, hey,
hey. The Saints are now on the clock. The Jaguars are now on the clock. The Lions are now on the clock. The Titans are now on the clock.
Boom, boom, can you feel the flame? Hold on, I can make it rain. Oh, do you hear the thunder? No, don't let it bring you down. Look up and see the light. You're not alone, don't give up like that. Oh, yeah, gotta wait.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
The snare blow. I know you ain't done yet. Don't stop to catch your breath. You're going high, high.
The Jets are now on the clock.
Let go, set me free. Got the streets, all I need. We're going high, 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 high.
The Dolphins are now on the clock. The Cowboys are now on the clock. The Texans are now on the clock. The Chargers are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock. The Steelers are now on the clock. The Broncos are now on the clock.
Falling too fast to prepare for this. Tripping in the world could be dangerous. Everybody circling his vultures. Negative.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Follow me. Everybody praying for the end of times. Everybody hoping they could be the one. I was born to run. I was born for this.
The Lions are now on the clock.
Race horse, pull me like a ripcord. Break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip. Word upon your lip. Rather that you rip. Break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes.
The Titans are now on the clock. The Cardinals are now on the clock.
I do what it takes. Instead of fear of being typical, looking at my body feeling miserable. Always hanging on to the visual. I wanna be invisible. Looking at my years like I'm out of dumb. Everybody needs to be a part of them. Never be enough from the prodigal son. I was born to run. I was born for this. Whip, run me like a racehorse. Pull me like a ripcord. Break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip. Word upon your lip. Rather that you rip. Break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes. 'Cause I love it.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
I do whatever it takes. 'Cause I love how it feels when I break the chains. Whatever it takes. Yeah, take me to the top. I'm
hypothetical, working under some.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
The box and epoxy to the world and the vision we've lost. I'm in
The Bears are now on the clock.
a symbol to remind you that there's more to see. I'm just a product of the system of catastrophe, and yet a masterpiece, and yet I'm half diseased. And when I am deceased, at least I go down to the grave and die happily, and leave the body of my soul to be a part of me. I do what it takes,
Whatever it takes. 'Cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do whatever it takes. 'Cause I love how it feels when I break the chains. Whatever it takes. Yeah, take me to the top. I'm ready for whatever it takes.
The Browns are now on the clock. The Eagles are now on the clock. The Patriots are now on the clock. The Panthers are now on the clock.
Polo to the floater.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
Adamville for real, you see ya. Just take a photo. I'm reppin' that's on photo with a on your brodo. Cause that Jodo thought that he could rob a player for some dodo. Oh no, also Allen Temple. Also England Mountain. I'm so Misty Valley. And I got a couple yesterday out of Cali. And my bag from the valley bought me brand new balance. And I'm playing with a no American dream. Dusty road. Man, she been riding since her daddy rode on road. I done in every hole, telling every I ain't with my wife, but if she meet her, might be a go. Rick flat, flashy. Don't I look dashy? Don't I look classy? Don't act so sassy. I'm not
The Colts are now on the clock.
without you. With what you say, show me what that.
I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say it lonely at the top, but this the best. Hey, don't you see me out here shining, barely flexing? I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say it lonely at the top, but this the best. And even if we die today, gon' live forever. Live forever.
Daddy pants ain't with 3 S's. Pick the S's, no S's on my chest, but all these diamonds got me blessed. Usually I don't.
The London Black Knights are now on the clock.
17 been counting M's, my bank accounts on goofy. Gave up. Now who know what the truth is? Chicago full of, my garage is full of hoop. This got that southern drawl and all that. My like ball bags. The South got something to say, and all y'all can't get y'all ball back. If I ain't a hot boy, then what do you call sacks? Daddy fat, y'all never ball back. Like clocks in the wintertime, we stay eating like it's dinner time. Been feasting and feasting big, but it ain't no rhyme. We don't know the meaning of drought, cause we keep it so wet, boy, I swear now it's been a while. Just speaking in general, boy, there is no formidable opponent or at that bone it. You'll never step on it. When you wanna,
The Saints are now on the clock.
dig a hole so deep, ain't no climbing.
The Packers are now on the clock.
Yeah, I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say it lonely at the top, but this the best. Don't you see me out here shining, barely flexing? I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say it lonely at the top, this the best. And even if we die today, don't live forever. Live forever.
The Titans are now on the clock.
Got some cocoa, my vision is
The Texans are now on the clock. The Jets are now on the clock.
Get down on the
The Cowboys are now on the clock. The Bengals are now on the clock. The Texans are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock. The Broncos are now on the clock.
I look up. So many.
Oh my God.
So many. I done made sacrifices. So many sacrifices. Straight up. I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free.
The Bills are now on the clock.
My girl showed me love, she know I make sacrifices. And if it's real love,
The Lions are now on the clock.
to get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. That's how hungry my appetite is. Yeah. What you telling me? I sense the jealousy, I got telepathy, I got the recipe, I got the streets and I don't got no felony. Forward thinking, yeah, my mind is ahead of me. Mama said it's gonna be whatever you let it be. It's some homies I grew up with that's dead to me. It's some that I just met in debt to me. What's in common is they both pay respect to me. I get it my way from Friday to Friday. My girl is a mix of Aaliyah and Sade. I came a long way from that Marvin and I pull out the driveway like I'm in a car chase speeding. And if my she know I'm leaving. No text, no call, but at airplane mode. Code, no P code, no time to change clothes. Same clothes, love if you're living by the same code. G code, leave. You do that to me, back to my destiny. Penthouse birds.
The Titans are now on the clock.
So when you see me, know you somebody I'll never need. Sacrifices. So many sacrifices. Straight up. I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free. I sacrificed it. My girl showed me less.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
And if it's real love, then you make sacrifices. To get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. That's how hungry my appetite is. Yeah. I cut the drama out my energy. Focus on an inner me, never on an enemy. And I done sacrificed my own time. I done sacrificed my own mind. I done sacrificed the club life. I done sacrificed my love life. But I cut the drama out my energy. Focus on an inner me, never on an enemy. And I done sacrificed my own time. I done sacrificed my own mind. I done sacrificed the club life. I done sacrificed my love life.
Also, I done sacrificed the thug life. Diamond shining, ain't no dull light. Drop my top to get my mind right. Pull up in the Rari loud.
The Redskins are now on the clock. The Raiders are now on the clock.
I bought that new charm. Pop on, I told her.
The Bears are now on the clock.
The devil had entered my soul, my mama had beat the die. The devil, my mama. Remember my grandma had told me, you better be somebody. Hop in my seats, massaging. Watch how I lead the posse. I made an M deposit.
Paid all these dues with the game. Sacrifice your strides for that stain.
Sacrifice.
Heard you sacrifice your life for that change. She sacrificed that money for
white.
Left hand got 3 rings. That's brum. We up one. Bad, dear savage. Take her to the mall and buy some. That's gonna wanna make your friends come. Make way with the tummy. Tell me. Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice?
The Browns are now on the clock. The Eagles are now on the clock.
10 toes, yeah, you gotta stay down, eh? Just some yawn, looking for a way out, eh? People watching, yeah, I gotta skip town, eh? Hit my phone if you need a hold.
I done made sacrifices. So many sacrifices. Straight up. I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free. I sacrificed it. My girl showed me love, she know I make sacrifices. And if it's real love, then you make sacrifices. To get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. That's
The Patriots are now on the clock.
Yeah, I know my great auntie was a slave. I could only imagine all the sacrifice she made. I could only imagine all that she had to take. I'ma make sure all the she gave wasn't in vain. I sacrificed for your entertainment, boy. I'm Mr. Anderson in the Matrix. Check the last name, it's all facts. In the human race, it's all about pacing. Look at all the ones I outlasted. I'm the one at the end, like I count backwards. Never satisfied, details classified till the afterlife. Make a sacrifice down.
Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice? Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice? I stay myself, I never change, yeah. Do whatever get you paid, yeah.
Cause, but I still low. Got 100 different in my cell phone. Still 33 for low. I'ma ride to my dog sitting in jail. He stay lighter on the grass, bend it back, roll. I'm on Keller, I'm on Besham, I'm on Flat Shore. I'm at Magic, I'm at Bally's, let them go. Then it's right back to the when I'm low. Bars never close and we wide open. Kicking flavor with me, neighbor, yeah, we local. Rap the bottom, cause the bottom where we come from. Me no pray for little paper, need a lump sum. Real spill, yeah, a recipe, yeah. Broke, real, little rich. Fall in love with her. She just wanna be in VIP with her. Don't blame me, oh, they just shame me. Had to get it, how I got it on my phone to me. Don't blame me, I'm what the game made me, not what the fame made me. I won't let it change me, I'm the same man.
I stay myself, I never change, yeah. Dirty started treat me like a stain, yeah. Do whatever get you paid, yeah. Rolling from the cradle to the grave, yeah.
On my hood, on my block, yeah. On my, I won't stop, yeah. Play with me, let it, yeah. Halo on me, Saint Laurent, yeah. Got me with the school, yeah. Keep one, move, yeah. You my little baby boo, yeah. I love you like my favorite color blue, yeah. Real spill, yeah, a recipe, yeah. Broke, real, little rich. Fall in love with her. She just wanna be in VIP with her. Don't blame me, oh, they just shame me. Had to get it, how I got it on my phone to me. Don't blame me, I'm what the game made me, not what the fame made me. I won't let it change me, I'm the same man.
I stay myself, I never change, yeah. Dirty soda treat me like a stain, yeah. Do whatever get you paid, yeah. Rolling from the cradle to the grave, yeah.
Montana.
You know, I'm like, yeah, nice P, you know?
What up, Pink?
Man.
La música de Harry Fraud.
When I pull up, they notice me. Come and talk to me like Jodeci. But don't you be too close to me. Them goons you see, let it go for me. I bring them things, I call them, he bring them things. Mucho, I bring them things. Looking so expensive, rings and things. I bring them things. I bring them things. I bring them things.
Man, you don't want with them, bro. Oh, you, and it better get low. Extorting, you ain't got no friends, oh. They'll be with that like a
Chanel scarf like rainbow. $1,000, this ain't your cloth. You ain't, that ain't no sauce. I can see the noodles made for poodles. I'm thinking about the LaFerrari coupe. 1.8, the option is the roof. Greens is a secret to the youth. Your goals are malnourished. Please spit the juice. Y'all be vaping, I be maiden. Yes, y'all be aping. I'm Richard Mill Nation. No diamonds, just tourbillon facing with gears and sprockets with the sapphire casing.
When I pull up, they notice me. Come and talk to me like Jodeci. But don't you be too close to me. Them goons you see, let it go for me. I bring them things, I bring them things. I call them, he bring them things. Mucho, I bring them things. Looking so expensive, rings and things. I bring them things. I bring them things. I bring them things.
Here's a little story about a kid from Morocco. Had to show Carlito I was Benny Blanco. Check it out. Raindrop, offset. Plug, we the outlet. Child put me in the box. I'm in the box off. All the face shorty, socks off. Mac Miller, Reggie Miller, the killer, Canaries, back stiller, white villa, fresh vanilla, garage like a kill himself. Lauren Hiller, get up. Crib Calabasas on the hill. I had him morning plate. Beatles on the red carpet. Alcatraz bars, crash cars, ain't no future in front. My homies rip your mask off.
When I pull up, they notice me. Come and talk to me like Jodeci. But don't you be too close to me. Them goons you see, let it go for me. I bring them things, I bring them things. I call them, he bring them things. Mucho, I bring them things. Looking so expensive, rings and things. I bring them things. I bring them things. I bring them things.
I heard these always hating, said I'll never make it. I heard these always talking with them. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah. I heard he's mad at me cause I'm getting money. I heard he's mad at me cause he's on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah. I heard he's mad at me cause I'm shining. They ain't seen it when I'm young, out here grinding. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. Either way, young, getting paid, yeah. I heard he's mad at me cause it's poppin'. They don't wanna put some money in my pockets. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. Either way, a hater always gonna hate, yeah. Mad at me cause I'm tryna feed my I'm supposed to make it out and I don't bring my No way, no way, no way, yeah. They ones and they here to stay, yeah. I heard he's always hating, said I'll never make it. I heard he's always talking with them. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. I heard he's mad at me cause I'm getting money. I heard he's mad at me cause he's on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah.
I heard he tryna lie me, but I ain't no dummy. It's okay though, got it, you really want it. I spent 13 on the ring and now I feel unlucky. Hey, she love my diamond ring, she said she wanna touch it. It's okay, I get 30K just to hit the stage. Sip, hit my Michael, in my Michael J. I get cake, I cannot complain. Been finessing since I was a kid in the 2nd grade, selling lemonade. Get paid, hold up, wait, can I get paid? Yawn, in a break, feel like I'm in space. See a snake, kill a snake, get paid. Get left every day, so get your straight.
I heard he's always hating, said I'll never make it. I heard he's always talking with them. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. I heard he's mad at me cause I'm getting money. I heard he's mad at me cause he's on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. Mad cause I'm trying
trying to feed my family. Why I gotta watch a friend more than an enemy? I had to stun on a got them both to stunt with. Had to cut you off, you was on some dun. You was supposed to be my dog, why you hate on me? They say success turn your friends to some enemies. That is crazy. Cause it's shining, now you actin' shady. Yeah, but I guess it's okay. My mama told me you would show me your ways. Yeah, but I gotta check with him. I had the bands. Pull up in the land. Diamonds on me look like Erdy. Erdy's always hating, said I never make it. Erdy's always talking with them. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Erdy's mad at me cause I'm getting money. Erdy's mad at me cause he's on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
No Harvard, but I was a scholar. Hard knocks, and I learned to be smarter. Don't prefer to be bothered. You get if I order. That's word to my father. I will for my mother. Deal with my brothers. Keep it real. Don't talk with no. Plus I duck undercover. Gotta stay on this mission. Got a vision that's endless. They told me don't be a menace. They gon' serve me a sentence. But now I'm up in it. The illest that did it. Get the cream look. Drop it in it. Give about opinions. I'm just minding my business. If I'm grinding, I'm shining. Don't got time for the gimmicks. Squad, I'm dead. 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 Squad. Square one, it's hard to square up. Everybody got come, mama cries, dead sons. Lord, please bless them. Back to the party, I'm just pouring my. Don't get face that before, so I live it up. When a come, better get them up. That's a floss track, better get them up. I'ma keep eating, it's a dinner rush. I'll let you finish up. Flock of diamonds, I can promise I'm being honest. This being modest. I am your Highness, I am the finest. You rappers, plus you a liar. Don't idolize and I don't admire. Been doing me for like ever. I'm a better me, more clever. It's a new way. We surfing, baby, new age. That's a certain, baby. Let's take a ride. Put your for the ones that die. It's vows tonight. Just you and I get lost tonight. Then lose your mind. Squad, I'm dead. 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 Squad, I'm dead.